Hola!
Hey everyone, welcome back.
So today we're gonna ask you, do you have your temporary residency card here in Mexico and looking to go to permanent? And are you being told that you have to wait that 4-year period? If so, this is the video for you. If you're new to our channel, I'm Kelly, this is Tamar, and our son TJ's in the other room gaming. We moved to Mexico January 2022, and since then we've been learning and navigating our way through as expats, or some would say immigrants, here in Mexico.
In this video, we're going to talk about the key points that you need to be concerned about when you're going to apply for permanent residency, especially if you've only had your temporary card for less than the 4-year requirement.
From eligibility requirements, processing times, we'll give you the information you need, so let's dive in.
Before we get started, what are we having today?
Sangria!
Sangria. Cheers. So first things first, the number one thing, you need to make sure you meet the requirements. Now, instead of me going through and pointing out all the different requirements, there has to be some due diligence on your part. You can go on the INM website and you can look up the requirements, but if you don't meet the requirement, I don't believe you'll be able to get your permanent residency card in the fashion that I did, only waiting 5 months. So a few of the standard requirements that we're all familiar with is, you'll hear them say, you need to be of retirement age. What is retirement age? My guess is you have to be in the 60s or something of that sort. I was able to get my permanent residency primarily because I am considered retired, because I do receive a pension, right? So we can throw that out the window that you need to be retirement age. That is not true. You just need to show that you have a steady pension coming in that shows that you are in retired status, and that's all that's required. Now, you still need to meet the financial threshold in order to do this. However, you don't need to be 60-something years old.
What documents do you need? You're gonna need all the documents that you used when you applied for temporary residency back in the US or Canada. You're also going to have to get all those documents transcribed and notarized here in Mexico.
So I will link either here or here to the video that we did several months ago when we completed our temporary process, and it includes all the documents that we needed for that. So what is the processing time for this? From the beginning of the transaction to the end of the transaction, it took approximately 3 weeks for me to get the card in hand.
So next one is professional assistance. Many people, we see it all the time, they pay a decent amount of money for legal assistance. Basically, you have somebody, you pay somebody, they go and do all your stuff. You just have to show up for your picture, you leave, and then it's time to go get your card. If you have the time and you can do your research, that saved us hundreds of dollars that we, it can go somewhere else.
Now we live further away from the immigration office. Before, it was kind of like a trial. I would go to the immigration office, they would say, hey, you're missing this particular document, you need to go back and get this. And it was okay for me.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. I was like 10, 15 minutes away, and I lived there, so and I had nothing else to do, so it didn't matter to me. However, not everyone might be in the same position, and some people may either have work, they work online, or maybe they live in a different country and they just want to come in and get it. If you're in probably in the latter of that category, where you just don't have the time, but you also have the resources to pay someone to get it done, we do have people that we've used, not to do the process, because as we mentioned, we've done the process ourselves, but we've used those same people to do other work for us, but they also do the immigration part of it. So if that is something that you're looking for, just let us know, and we can definitely give you a WhatsApp contact information to those individuals, and hopefully they can assist you in your process.
Last but not least, perseverance. We have learned along the way, you can talk to multiple people, they all say a different thing. One tells you this, you go a different time, somebody tells you something totally different. So the best thing is just take it with a grain of salt, do your research, you know, go home, regroup, check, you know, your stuff, like, nope, I got this, and go back in and hope for another person, or have documentation showing like, hey, this is where I'm eligible.
But be courteous when you go to the immigration office, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to deal with someone who's rude or in any way abusive. So don't go in there and just be rude. But you know, if you have the black and white, that will definitely
Be assertive.
help. Yeah, definitely be assertive.
Yeah.
And the last point that we're gonna touch on is family unit. So Kelly just mentioned that they're in the process now of transferring their temporary residency card to permanent residency. So I had to get mine first because I am the one that's receiving the pension. And then after I had my permanent residency card, then I could file for them. Now, how is that done? Probably a whole different subject, but that is done under the family reunification, I think, portion of the immigration process, all right? So they're just going to apply for their permanent residency based on me being the primary holder. I believe there's a contingent, though, that you have to have started the process that way to begin with. What do I mean by that? Initially, when we first did our temporary residency cards, we did it in that same fashion. I did the application initially. We all did it at the same time, but I was a primary person that's doing the application, and then Kelly and TJ were subsequent on the application. And because of that, now we're able to continue that process that way. So hopefully you found the video useful. Hopefully there's something that you can utilize from it if you are in the same position that we are and transferring from temporary to permanent. Keep in mind, we are not in any way, shape, or form professionals when it comes to immigration or the immigration process. Yes, we have done it all ourselves, and we have done the research for what we're required to do. But the specific questions about your specific situation, I don't know. That's not what I do. So I'll definitely suggest that you go on the immigration website. It has a plethora of useful information that you can utilize to see what your situation is. And worst case, contact someone who does this for a living so that they can best advise you.
So if you found this helpful, give us a like. We'd love for you to subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when we have a new video.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below.